Wade here. Welcome back to the Wade Alter Show. So today what I want to talk about is imposter syndrome, and specifically related to charging what you're worth in your business. I remember somebody saying like, oh, I have imposter syndrome. And I remember this is back when I was a dating coach, and I was thinking, I don't even know what that means. I mean, I kind of get it from the name of it, but I just never heard it before I was the age of 27 or 28. And it's kind of like one of those things when it comes to any sort of belief or any sort of label, if it doesn't serve you, what's the point? And I truly don't believe labeling like a feeling you might have, a doubt you might have about, am I worthy of this? Or is my business ready to charge this much? Or can I offer enough value to my clients or customers? By putting a label on it, in a way, it gives your power away of saying, oh, I have this. Oh, it's because of my imposter syndrome. I love the book, Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art. And it's great because he talks about this concept of the resistance and how to overcome it, and how everyone has writer's block, and there's processes and tactics you can use and mindset shifts. But all of a sudden, it also creates another excuse of like, oh, it's the resistance. That's the resistance that's making me procrastinate. And I think the fact that I was naive of something like this imposter syndrome thing, it allowed me not to have it. If you don't use the word, you don't feel it or you don't have it. So if you're like me and you don't know what it is, I guess let me recite the definition here. It says, imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. So I guess there's that fraud aspect too that's kind of interesting and something that for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just my sort of Midwestern authentic background. And so what I want to do is use a dating example here to hopefully remove imposter syndrome from your life completely. And so again, it comes back to that, does this serve me? If the belief doesn't serve you, get rid of it. And so I have a concept called extreme self-love. And this really evolved early in my sort of dating life when I was going out and I was talking to girls. And one thing you want to do is not put them up on a pedestal and say, okay, I deserve this girl. I'm so in love with myself. Everything I do is amazing. Everything I do is awesome. I'm the perfect 10. And what happens is the doubt creeps in and goes, why do I deserve that girl? Or I'm not a perfect 10. Look at that guy over there. He seems richer than me. Or that guy over there is taller than me. And he's got the chiseled abs. Like, why me? And again, if the focus or the belief doesn't serve you, then get rid of it. And so for me, the belief is I'm fucking awesome. Why am I the shit? I'm the man. I love myself. And what I would do is everything in my life, I'd stack in a way to have me feel more extreme self-esteem, more extreme self-love. So if I'm wearing a shirt with a stain on it, I look at that shirt and instead of going, oh no, there's a stain on my shirt. That's so embarrassing. What if someone sees it? That sounds a little bit like imposter syndrome there. Maybe to make it even more precise, let's say you're trying to come across as cool, but you're afraid if they see the stain on your shirt, you're not really as cool as you appear to be. Instead, flip the script. For me, when I got a stain, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, man. I'm so fucking cool. I'm rocking the stain. Like, who else can do that? Like, people will be all doubting themselves. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm the fucking man. Or you probably just didn't hear that edit, but I took a little sip of some sparkling water, and I'm thinking, damn, it's so fucking sophisticated. Me drinking sparkling water, like, ugh, people drink Coke or Diet Coke. Gross, like, I'm so awesome. And so again, it's all these random little things that for most people are neutral, they're benign. Instead, I'm stacking the cards in my favor so that when I was single and I go up to that girl, I'd be like, man, do I deserve this girl? Man, does she deserve me? I am the perfect 10. So a lot of that, it's all in your head and you can make that change. And so by reinforcing it and then interrupting that, oh, it's my imposter syndrome, cut, interrupt the pattern, and ask a better question. Why am I awesome? There's nothing about me that's cut. Why am I awesome? Oh yeah, because I'm drinking water, not Pepsi. Because I got a stain on my shirt and I'm the man. Because my hair is disheveled and I still look cool. And I could go on and on with this. I've seen this again and again, like modeling successful people to where like, even if they're overweight or something, I remember one of my friends is like, yeah, you know what? Even when I was at my biggest weight, I'd look in the mirror and I'd see that one dimple. And I go, oh yeah, look at that dimple. You're so attractive. And it's weird how some of this it's just organic. People kind of, fell upon this sort of mindset. But if you don't have it, it's time to have empowering beliefs instead of the ones that are holding you back. And all it comes down to is the pattern interrupt and flip the script. And so when it comes to your business or your pricing or positioning yourself as the expert, the authority to not fall into that imposter syndrome, the only way that you build that confidence, it happens from situational reference points. And so you can't think that sooner or later, confidence is going to come along. The confidence comes after the fact. You can't wait for the confidence before you take action. Instead, I do like doing ways to sort of artificially create reference points. And so that was what I was talking about by like all of a sudden flipping the script on my disheveled hair or having a stain on my shirt, making that a positive reference point of why I'm awesome. That gives you another reason to be confident. And so I'm going to give you a couple reference points now. First off, let's give you a secondhand one from my own life. I remember for myself when all of a sudden some guy reached out to me because I just launched Evolutions, my first product, and it was this massive success and, just kind of created it out of nothing and having the dating experience and being really successful in that realm. He's like, hey man, I see you've been great in your dating life. You seem to be fit. And it's also, man, I see you successful in business. I would love to get some form of lifestyle coaching or something like that. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, here's my chance to finally get out of the dating niche and do the self-development of really what I'm most passionate about. And so I was thinking I'd charge $50 an hour. I'd learn a lot and he'd get a really good value. And I went to one of my business mentors and he said, absolutely not. What you're going to do is say you've been offering this as a package for a long time. It's going to be $900 and you get XYZ amount of sessions and it's going to be an hour long and you're the expert. You tell them what to do and then you go off and send them this. I'm like, oh, okay. I got out a Word doc. I created this sort of thing where I'd have call every single week and it'd be $900. And he said, okay. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But I remember those first couple calls sitting on the phone and being like, oh my God, I don't know what the hell I'm going to talk about. Like the time is going away. I'm seeing it's been 20 minutes. It's been 30. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I committed to an hour. I'm like, what am I going to do? And all of a sudden we had to call another week and nothing had really changed. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know because I didn't know how to really package things properly. And so that was really challenging. And I guess, without knowing what imposter syndrome was really at the time, I guess I had it. I felt like, oh my God, am I really helping this guy as much as I could? But it was from that place of that sense of urgency, instead of having it be disempowering, having me say, you know what, I shouldn't do this. I should just give him a refund or, this just isn't for me. I can't do this anymore. Instead, I asked myself, what do I need to do to really give him the result that I sold him or that he expects? And so getting another reference point, there's this old sort of self-help, I guess it's like a sales concept or a sales principle where it says, you can't charge $10,000 for your product if you haven't paid $10,000. And as much as that is an amazing persuasion tool, it actually is the truth. Because if you haven't, it's hard not to feel like, dude, can I really get away with charging this much for my product? But if you paid that much, I remember for me, I spent over 10 grand on this consulting thing. And there was sort of like a product that came along with it. And when I got into the program, the product itself was just like a Vimeo page, like just a flow of videos that was actually public to anyone if you actually shared the link. And that was it. I'm like, oh my God, I spend so much time on my members area. And like, if you've been inside the syndicate, it's beautiful and it tracks your progress and there's like animations to it and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, man, I'm doing way too much. And also the other thing, I looked at the people running this business and I was like, I'm smarter than these people. I totally need to be charging more. I can't believe these people are charging this much. And so that was a huge reference point for me to charge more. But at the time, this was more recently, but back then what I did was I'm like, okay, I need to figure out what somebody else who's charging more than me is doing for this thing. So I charged like, I think $900 for 3 months or something like that. And I saw the Tony Robbins, I just done the UPW event, Unleash the Power Within. And they had something where it was $900 a month for like 2 calls. And so I'm like, okay, let's see what this is. And by me going through that experience of doing it for, I think 3 or 4 months and seeing, okay, how did they set up the contracts? What did we talk about on the calls? I was able to model how long were the calls? How often a month were the calls? It gave me so many reference points where I didn't have to reinvent this wheel from scratch. And it gave me so many things to work with that client to where the confidence just came. I was like, I know I can do this. I've experienced it. I know what it's like. I have a model now to follow. I got a certain result and I know now I can give this person that result. Another aspect of pricing specifically, if you want to start charging more, is really look at, again, I talked about this in the last podcast. What is the benefit to the client? And so there's this great little ebook. Shoot me, message on Facebook if you want this. I'll try to find it. I think it's called Breaking the Barrier. You might be able to find it. It's totally free online somewhere. And what it talks about is it gives the example of a web designer and he's working with a plumber, of a web designer who's charging hourly and he's competing against people in the Ukraine or, the Philippines and stuff like that and thinking he needs to charge $50 an hour for his work. But then this consultant comes along and says, hold on a second. Let's look at that last business that you helped. What was the benefit of the website? And so for this business, they had a horrible website, didn't convert at all. And after it was a multi-7-figure business. And after this person built this website for, I think in total, $1,200. I don't know. I haven't read the book in a few years. Let's say it's $1,200 is what he charged because he just worked so hard hourly to make it happen. That website helped them make an extra $100,000 a month. And so what this book really shifts is said, you should get some profit sharing there. Instead, maybe ask for a certain amount up front and say, okay, any added revenue, I get 10%. And so you might be getting 10K a month into perpetuity, where all of a sudden this becomes a 7-figure website instead of a $1,200 website because you've helped that client out so much. And so that's kind of the extreme end of the spectrum. But what it really goes to show you, it helps you gain a level of confidence of saying, you know what, the amount of value that this client or this customer is getting from this, I should charge 10 times as much. And so another way of looking at this too, if you're like, oh man, I got to put in more effort, it's not about the effort, it's about the benefit that they get. And actually, the easier it is, or the less you do, if you get them there faster, that's even better. There's a story about a friend who had a friend who was a dentist. And he said, man, I need this root canal. My tooth, it just hurts so bad. And the dentist is like, okay, that's cool. I can do it. It's going to be $2,000. He's like, okay, that's kind of what I've heard for the price point. He's like, how long is it going to take? It's like, oh, it takes about 15 minutes. He said, whoa, wait a second. You're going to charge me $2,000 for 15 minutes to do this root canal? And the dentist was like, well, I can make it last 6 hours. And so who wants to sit in a root canal for 6 hours? If you can do it in 15 minutes, if you get the pain gone, that's all that matters. And this is the same thing for your clients and your customers. If you remove the pain, you give them a result, they'll pay what the result is worth. It doesn't matter the effort or how long it takes you to get them there. And so don't think, oh, I got to do all this more work and I don't have more time to do this more work, or I need to do this to make it. Just look at what is the benefit I can offer and how can I offer more benefit? How can I double the amount of benefit of the results that I can offer? And don't think about like, what is the time here? And then charge what you're worth. If I look at that leapfrog moment for myself, when I went from thinking I could charge $35 or $50 an hour to a $900 package, I still think that sort of 30x multiple there impacts where I'm at today, 5-6 years later. Maybe it would have led to me feeling half as confident at this point. And I also know, like I said, it's scary when all of a sudden you want to double your prices, or, you hear this all the time in like, the marketing world, like, oh, if you just double your prices, you'll get twice the profit and do the same amount of work. But it's scary. I get it. Like when you're on the sales call and you're thinking like, oh my God, I got to tell him how much I'm charged. Practice that. Do it in the mirror. Do it with your girlfriend and say, okay, I'm worth, this package is going to cost $15,000 and here's what you get. Practice it again and again so it doesn't feel weird when you're like, oh my God, I'm getting to that point where all of a sudden I'm going to have to say the price. You should be like, oh yeah, cool. Now it's time, bread and butter. Let's do this. So practice it again and again to, again, get those reference points. And I also know the hardest time to make the sale is when you need it the most. The hardest time to raise your prices is when you don't have any clients. And so figure out ways to have that sort of abundance mindset. And the easiest way is to have abundance. So think about, okay, how could I scale my marketing? How could I position my angle better? So I just got so many leads coming in that I'm like, you know what, screw it. I don't care if I lose this guy or I lose the next guy. I have so many, I have dozens every single week. There's more people. I can just charge whatever I want because I'm coming from that place of abundance. And in the end, if those doubts kick in, interrupt the pattern and focus on an empowering belief. Don't let things like imposter syndrome, the resistance, whatever these sort of abstract sort of concepts are, if they're holding you back, that it's bullshit. That's all I'm going to say. It's bullshit. They're not serving you. Come up with a more empowering belief. Say, I deserve to be a coach that's charging $10,000 a month. I deserve to have 20 clients that are paying me $100,000 a year or $1 million a year, whatever that number is for you. I deserve to be charging $5,000 for this product. Have it be your new mantra. Visualize yourself doing that. Visualize your bank account. Remember, the subconscious doesn't know the difference between something visualized and something in your memory that actually happened. And so you can create those reference points to give you that confidence. Compare what you offer to other people and say, man, I do deserve better things. Get the experiences for yourself so you can model other people. And all these things lead to those reference points where you truly will feel confident to not only charge more, but to give a better result because you're coming from that place of authority. You're able to give your clients or your customers that certainty that's almost as valuable as whatever you're offering. It gives them the belief through that sort of state transference to feel, if he believes in me, I can believe in myself and I can achieve what I want. I don't care if this is literally some affiliate offer where it's like a cat toy and you're selling it as an e-commerce thing. Make sure that they believe that their cat is going to play with this thing. Like I said, I'm trying to use an extreme example here. That confidence comes through in everything you do, almost on like a fourth dimensional level. And so it's so important to not wait for the confidence. The confidence comes after the fact. Get in there, jump in the deep end, and get creative to create these sort of artificial reference points or superficial. They're not even artificial or superficial, because that's kind of going back to the imposters aspect. What they are forced, proactive instead of reactive reference points. And so don't wait for the confidence, jump in the deep end. There's no such thing as imposter syndrome. Get out there, take action. And as always, enjoy.